We are back together again with another episode of the Investor Guys podcast. Catching up just before we went on the air. And how are you doing, buddy?
I am doing wonderfully well. My 19-year-old officially got accepted as a sophomore to University of Oklahoma for August. And he got a $10,000 scholarship like the next day. So since I saw you last, those are the big non-real estate events that have happened.
City of Oklahoma and Stillwater?
No, not Oklahoma State. Oklahoma.
Okay.
The University of Oklahoma.
So Oklahoma University in Norman, Oklahoma.
Yes. He will be a Boomer Sooner.
Okay. I know Norman well. I used to hang out at the Mont down there. The Mont is actually still there. I'm sure he will be doing the same when he turns 21. So, and good for you, because it's just 3 hours away.
Yeah, I'm very happy that he's there. So he was looking at a place in LA, and I was like, dude, I'm not paying for anything for you to go to school in California. Period. Yeah, but I'm like, don't care. If you want to go that bad, do what I did. Pay your way through. That's fine. If you want help from me, you're not going to California. You just don't want me away. I'm like, no, I don't want you in that cesspool. It was bad enough that you wanted to go to Austin and go to UT, because Austin is every bit as bad as California. However,
at least it's still Texas, right? Well, congratulations to the both of you.
Thanks. I'm very excited about it.
Yeah, that's it. And OU's a good school.
Yeah. He got screwed over by Texas, and he hates them even worse now. And I'm like, well, you're going to the right spot. If you're going to hate University of Texas, you are going to the right spot. Absolutely.
That is home of Deion Sanders, too. So Deion Sanders came out of OU.
I did not know that.
So, yes. So, all right.
His high school team, not the one that he was on, but he coached a high school team here locally a couple of years ago. And our high school played him, and it was ugly. They had like 5 offensive plays and like 3 touchdowns, and it went downhill from there. But anyway, so hey, end of the month is approaching. And in the month, all of the moratoriums are coming off of foreclosure and eviction and all those things. And so, again, everybody's talking that up. We had an earlier show, 3 or 4 weeks ago, where we talked about the number, according to one of the mortgage industry magazines, is 2.1 million properties that could possibly be foreclosed on, not near that many going to get foreclosed on. However, it brings up some great opportunities for us to look at. If you're talking to somebody that gets into that predicament where they're behind and they may not necessarily want to keep their property, a lot of times when people get in that environment, they just want to dump the property and move on. And in a hot market, dumb thing to do. But hey, people are going to do everything they do. They're going to do what they believe to be in their best interest at the time they make that decision. So if somebody's made their mind up that they want out of the property, they're going to get out of it one way or the other. And if they haven't been paying their mortgage for 3, 4, 6, 9, 12 months, the number that's going to be staring at them is going to be substantial. Now, a lot of these mortgage companies have already said they're going to, for the people who had a good history up until this, they're going to offer them the possibility if they want to, and it's always up to the borrower just as much as it is the lender. They're going to offer them the option of taking all of the back owed money and tacking it on the rear of the note. And if they ever look at how much additional interest that'll cost them, they'll say no. But a ton of people are going to go, well, okay, great, let's do that. but there are going to be some people that walk. You and I have picked up properties subject to through the years that will be coming back into vogue as we move forward because of not just this, but it's time for the market to turn as well. And so maybe not in Florida and maybe not in Texas, but a lot of the market has the underpinnings of a turning market already, has had for about 18 months. And so it's building this steam up for a downturn in the real estate market. And when that happens, a lot of the properties that we're going to be able to pick up, we'll be able to pick up subject to, where we just go in and literally catch up their back payments and start servicing their debt going forward. We're going to be able to buy some of those with a wrap. Some of them are going to be able to be bought with land trust or deeds of trust, or a lot of different options to be able to deal with those. But, you know, the main thing, Kev, is how in the world do we find these people? And you and I do that differently than a lot of people do, in the fact that we want to try to get to them before they hit all of the foreclosure, before they're officially in default, so that we can get ahead of the crowd. Because if you've talked to anybody in the last 10 years that's been going through foreclosure, they got a stack of letters about like this from real estate investors, and many times they would have 8, 10, 12 copies of the same letter, even though they were from different investors. So when they talk to somebody that is a pro, which is what we want you guys to be, it's what we are. When they talk to somebody that's a pro, it's a completely different conversation, and they understand, hey, you know, this is not some guy that's taken the famous yellow pad letter and run it through his copier. You know, this is somebody that is serious about their business. It shows in everything that they do. And so they're going to have that conversation differently. The big thing is getting out in front of the game. So what's your favorite way to...
Let's talk about that when we come back from break. Okay. I want to talk about not only finding those, but the types of properties we can even focus on more so than others as we go into this round. So let's do all that when we get back from this break, and we'll see you in just a minute. Once a month, with the exception of December, Bill and I go to markets where we have experience and we host a real estate buyers event. These are markets that have great return potential for your real estate portfolio. We're going to show you the properties that we buy. We're going to show you where to buy, where not to buy, the strategies to use to make great income from these properties. We're also going to show you resources and individuals here on the ground that you can use to start building your team so that you can repeat this process over and over. The real estate buyers events are designed to put high-performing properties in your portfolio right away. If you're interested in hearing more about the Real Estate Buyers Event, realestatebuyersevent.com. That's realestatebuyersevent.com. Read more about the events, check out the schedule, and register. We'll see you there. A lot of real estate training programs claim that they will make you a millionaire, but how many of them will guarantee it? The Millionaire Blueprint comes with a millionaire guarantee. I guarantee that if you use the strategies and you use the formulas that you learn in the Millionaire Blueprint, you will be a millionaire. I guarantee that with a double your money back guarantee. Whether you have hundreds of thousands of dollars to invest or absolutely nothing, it doesn't matter. I'm going to show you how to start investing and be a millionaire guaranteed. Now, I can't tell you all about it in this short amount of time, so go to the guaranteedmillionaireblueprint.com. That's the guaranteedmillionaireblueprint.com. Watch the videos there. Read about the guarantee. Read more about what we offer with the Millionaire Blueprint. Get signed up. I'll see you in Palm Beach. And just before the break, we were talking about basically intersecting these events before they get into a default situation. So by preempting the bank, we have a little bit more leverage and we have less fees and everything else that we're going to have to deal with the bank. So before we talk about some of the ways that Bill and I find these properties and have found these properties in the past, let's talk about some of the types of properties we should really be focusing on as we go into this situation. Because last time that this was big, the last time I really focused on this was 2006, 7, and 8. Okay, and I picked up a lot of properties, and we'll talk about how I did that. But we're talking about a different situation here. And one of the things that I've noticed, especially with just the message boards that I follow and that I keep up with, a lot of real estate, and I'm not telling you this to scare you off, I'm telling you this to enforce the fact that you need to be educated and you need to know what you're doing. A lot of real estate investors who did not know what they were doing, they just said, hey, you know, let's buy real estate. It's a great investment. And they did not find out the right ways to do that and the right ways to manage it and the right ways to own it. I've seen so many real estate investors say, I'm done being a property owner. I'm done being a landlord. I'm done investing in real estate because they haven't been getting their rent since COVID started. Okay. Whatever their particular situation is, I promise they didn't do it right because they would have had some sort of hedge against that. They would have had some sort of something to carry them through. I myself would focus on those particular individuals because they are ready to get out of it. They're just riding this until they figure out what their option is, waiting to see whether the federal government's going to pay them the back rents or whether it's going to be this or going to be that. In California, the state is going to pay back rents. So investors in California, they're going to get that. Literally, the governor said that we're going to pay back rents.
He's doing everything he can to buy his way out of trouble.
Yep. He's also wanting to. What's that?
To do. That's an insane thing to do.
It is, but they got all that money from the federal government for their bailout, as did New York. So they're talking about using that to pay off everybody's rents that didn't pay their rent because of COVID. Talk about penalizing everybody that was responsible and did what they were supposed to do. You know, they're also talking about using some of that money or all of that money, who knows, for paying mortgages that weren't paid in that period of time in California as well. So California may not be a good place to try this particular option. Not that it ever would have been for either Bill or I anyway. California is just not on either of our radar anymore. I would focus and look for, especially on these message boards, which you can find on Facebook, you can find anywhere. Investor Connection, Deeper Pockets, all of those have these message boards on them. Find out who's interested in getting rid of their property. Find out who's had a bad experience as a real estate investor. Don't try to talk them up. Just say, hey, you know, how much do you want for your property? What can we work out for me to, you know, take your position in your property, take your problems off your hands and send you packing, and you not have a foreclosure on your record, which is a bad thing, and not have that on your credit. So when you go through a foreclosure, not only do you have that foreclosure on your credit, you've got all those late pays and everything else. It kills your credit. Yeah. This is a way for them to not only not have that foreclosure on there, but for us to build their credit for them while we assume their position in that particular loan. What were you going to say, Bill?
I was going to add on that about having them getting foreclosure on their credit report. I've had more than one credit underwriter tell me that they would rather see a bankruptcy on somebody's credit report than foreclosure. And if you've known anybody that's gone through that, a lot of times you know that within 12 months or less, in many cases, they've gone out and bought another house when they've gone through bankruptcy, but not when they've gone through foreclosure, because what happens with foreclosure from a credit underwriting standpoint is the underwriters look at that and go, the mortgage wasn't very important to them, so we're going to pass. Where bankruptcy, they look at it and go, hey, you know what? They were getting payments on the mortgage until the bankruptcy filed. Oh, gee, that's a picture of everything going on in their life, not just dealing with their house. And so that makes them very comfortable with moving forward. They also know that if somebody files bankruptcy, that they cannot file again for 7 years. And so they're like, hey, we're there. When they give us money, we're going to be good for a few years here. So there's a lot of different ways to do that. Now, one of the things that I would do, and I will be doing again here in the next 60 to 90 days, is getting out to people that we know. Now, you can go search the property tax rolls and look for multiple property ownership. So I'm not talking about apartment buildings. I'm talking about an entity, a person, an LLC, a trust, whatever, that owns more than one property. That lets you know they are 99% in the rental business. And so those are people I want to reach out to and say, hey, you know what? If you're tired of being a landlord and you know that you're not likely to get all of your back rent caught up and you'd like to move out of this property, or move this property out of your portfolio, give me a call. And those are great introductory letters to be able to send to people. And it's just not hard to find who owns single family rental investment property. And single family, of course, is anywhere from a single family house up to a fourplex. So those are things that are great ways to find people that right now in the coming months may be very ready to sell.
We're for a break, but when we get back, let's talk about how to actually do that, the method to actually find those people, what we've used before in the past and how successful that's been. We'll see you in just 11 months out of the year, Bill Barnett and myself do real estate buyers events in great cities like Orlando, Florida. We bring a group of investors to the cities where we have personal experience. We show them what we're buying, what not to buy, the strategies that we're using to get great returns on our real estate investment portfolios in these specific markets. These events are designed to put properties into your portfolio while you are here. To read more about the real estate buyers events, go to realestatebuyerevent.com. That's realestatebuyerevent.com. Our schedule is there. You're going to read more about the event and you can even register. We'll see you at our next event. My name's Kevin Mills. I have a real estate training program that is so powerful, I will back it up with a double your money back guarantee that it will make you a millionaire. That's right. Double your money back guarantee that you will be a millionaire if you use what you learn in the Millionaire Blueprint. I call it the Guaranteed Millionaire Blueprint, and you can read more about it and watch more videos at guaranteedmillionaireblueprint.com. That's guaranteedmillionaireblueprint.com. Check it out. All the information is there. We are back, and in this segment, we're going to talk about the different various ways that we have used ourselves and that you can use to find individuals that are facing this type of situation that are going to want to be getting out of it. Maybe we can throw in some of our own personal anecdotes as well. Just before the show, we were talking about what to talk about. I was telling Bill in 2005, 6, 7, and 8. I did this myself. I actually had a condo just down the way here in Boca Raton that I had picked up from a couple that lived in Massachusetts and had purchased it as an investment and realized that they were absentee owners and it was something they couldn't handle. I literally got it for nothing. They were current on payments, but they just wanted out of it. They didn't want to worry about it at all. They'd only owned it for a few years. So it's not like they had paid down the equity or anything, but I don't have to put a down payment on this property. And it already had a tenant in it. I picked up a number of properties in Texas where Bill is. And what I did to find those owners, I placed ads on Craigslist. And Craigslist was a lot more popular then than it is now. Maybe you'll use Facebook Marketplace. I placed ads in the markets where I was interested. Florida, I lived in California at the time. Florida was one of the markets where I was purchasing and investing in real estate. So I placed an ad for Central Florida and for Southern Florida, which is where we are now. I placed an ad in the Dallas, Fort Worth area, also in Austin, and also in San Antonio. I'm not a big fan of Houston, nothing personal. Just markets where I was interested, just markets where I was interested in dealing with properties where I already had some sort of a investment structure in place. So I knew I could find property managers to take over. Right, I knew that I knew the lay of the land and I knew what was going on. And I did that again from California, just putting ads in those different places for Craigslist. Now, if you're looking at a more specific area, like let's say you're in Dallas, Fort Worth, and you want to just focus on one particular area of, say, Dallas. I know that Bill loves the Farmers Branch in Addison area. If he wanted to just focus on that area, he could do a direct mail piece that went out. And it doesn't have to be, let me buy your property that's in foreclosure. It could be, hi, I'm Bill Barnett, and I've got a unique way to keep you from facing foreclosure, to save your credit, to list all the different things that he can do for them, and just send it out on a fun little flashy yellow postcard that's got a guy, showering in money or something. There are different ways to do it. Let's talk about some of the ways that you've done it, Bill.
My absolute favorite is Tarrant County offers through the property tax division, you can buy a CD. It's a couple $100, a DVD that has every single piece of property listed in it that has taxes on it, which is every single piece of property. And so it's about 730 or 40,000 pieces, individual pieces of property. Some of those are commercial property, obviously. A ton of them are going to be houses that the owners live in, the vast majority of them. But it's an easy way. Once you get it loaded in, it's an Excel spreadsheet. Once you get it loaded in, you can manipulate the columns. So what I'm looking for, again, as I mentioned earlier, I like to go back and resort the columns looking for duplicates. So then it's just a scrolling process to find the duplicates. Because once you hit the duplicates, and look, 100 people that have multiple properties in Tarrant County on this list is nothing. And it's not even a drop in the bucket. But for you and I, 100 leads, that's a huge, huge vat of money to start working, bucket of money to start working on and to start reaching out. So you've got, now typically you'll have the property mailing address. Sometimes it'll be different, always looking for where the property address and where the tax bill is being sent. I'm always noticing, is it different? Because that's what you're going to find most of the time with these people that have multiple properties. The tax bill is all going to be sent either to their office or to their home. So it'll be different than the physical address of the property. And it gives you a way to contact them. And it also gives you the heads up is here's a great possibility that these people might just be fed up. They may be done. And sometimes it's just people that have moved and they haven't liquidated their house here yet, but it was their residence and it no longer is. And so those are great, great ways to be able to find properties to be able to go after in an environment like this and what we're headed into.
One of the things that I had done, apply it however it might work for you in this particular cycle, but back in 2000, and Bill knows this, and any of you guys that were around know this as well, 5, 6, 7, 8, they were doing new subdivisions like crazy. They could not build new homes fast enough. So I was going to a lot of the newer subdivisions in Texas, but also in Arizona and in Nevada, and basically just carpet mailing every single person that was there. A lot of people purchased homes that they had on arms and they had on balloons and they had on just situations that they had to get out of once they started realizing what was happening. And I picked up a number of properties in Nevada, Arizona, and like I said, in Texas as well, using that strategy. Now, that's not necessarily going to be the case here, but adapt it for what's going to work for you. Look for markets that are going to be ripe for this type of a scenario. And you may live in one. And you may live in a situation like where Bill is and where I am. That doesn't mean that there's not going to be some property owners that just want to get out of this. They just don't want to deal with this anymore. And what's funny Bill, is you're going to like this. When I ran these ads, I actually had people give me houses that were not in trouble. They were not facing defaults. I had a lady give me a house because it was haunted. She had inherited it and she didn't want it because it was haunted. I've had people give me houses because they inherited it and they just had no clue what to do with it. They just didn't want it. They didn't want the tax liability. They didn't want the responsibility to maintain it. They weren't local. I've had people give me houses for all different types of reasons. The marketing that I did was for the pre-default, I'm going to say. We call it pre-foreclosure, but I'm going to say pre-default because we really wanted to catch it in pre-default. That was what I was marketing for, but I had all kinds of different people call and all kinds of different phone calls. I can't tell you how many people wanted to give me mobile homes. I just don't deal with mobile homes. Nothing against it. That's just not my thing. But you'd be surprised if you launch a marketing campaign and don't just try something for a week and be done with it. Launch something, give it 90 days, work it 90 days and work it hard. Keep putting those things out there, putting those things out. You'd be surprised what you're going to get for return. They say the standard return is going to be about 3%. Typically, maybe for your average mailer, I'd say 3%, but I think we're getting closer to 4 or 5%. I don't know what Bill was getting, but I noticed 5%. And when you consider that you're putting out thousands and thousands of feelers, 5% is a lot. We actually had so many people come back at us that we just couldn't do it. We weren't interested in their property, or we just weren't able to do their property because our plates were getting stacked up really, really high. Now, it looked like you were saying something, Bill, but I didn't hear you. I want to make sure your mic is.
I was going to say, absolutely. Yeah. When you think about if you mail out 1,000 really good mailers of some type, and look, direct mail is coming back around as being an attractive way to get to people that's been dead for so long. So it's coming back around. If you mail out 1,000 and you're getting 0.5% or you're getting 5%, that's 50. And most new real estate investors don't have the ability to handle that number of responses to be able to follow up on. So don't worry about, and look, you're going to spend basically $1. You may be spending $1.25 per mailing. So if I'm spending $1,250 to mail out 1,000 pieces of mail, then turning around and having 40 or 50 people reach out to me. And out of those 40 or 50 people, think about this. If only one turns out to be a deal, you're probably looking at $40,000, $50,000, $60,000, depending on what part of the country you're in. And in certain parts of the country, you're going to be looking at significantly more than that. So people get, oh, that's so expensive. I look at that and I go, $1,250, $40,000. That's a swap I want to make all day long.
Yeah, and if you end up with too many properties, Bill and I have done a show on wholesaling before. Go watch that show on wholesaling. Yep. If you've got more properties than you can personally do, I promise you there's other investors who didn't do an email campaign, who didn't do a direct mail campaign, who did not run ads on Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist, who'd be happy to take those properties off your hands and give you a commission for that. We are running out of time, as we always do, but I want to thank you for joining us. This was a fun show. And I'm actually getting excited now about running some ads myself.
There you go.
Bill, have a great weekend.
You too, sir.
I'm going to get off. Nurse my allergies. I took some allergy medicine here, and I'm hoping it'll kick in here pretty soon. Right. Have a great day. Happy investing, everybody else. And as always, keep in touch with us. Contact at theinvestorguyspodcast.com. And if you catch us on Facebook or Instagram or anywhere else, like us and follow us. We will see you on Tuesday.
Take care now.